managed to get yourself a partner with that flat chest and such a huge thighs, are you really going to eat that much? Ladies and gentlemen, good day. Today I will speak on body shaming. Body shaming, as its name suggests, is to shame someone for their body shape or size. Among the common criticism that we usually come across is that you are being too fat, too skinny, too fair and too dark. In fact, the hardest group of people to be impressed on earth is not the Asian parents, but the shamers. Do you know that body shaming kills victims as much as cancer does? Because they break the victims down gradually without them realizing. I was once a victim of body shaming before. I wouldn't say it is a body shaming, but it is sort of a body shaming. As you can tell, I have bulging eyes, and back then I was criticized and humiliated for my eyes. And they even related me to a kind of animal, which I don't feel like revealing it here. And that was when I realized there are a few stages that a victim will go through. First is of course the criticism made by the shamers against them. And there comes the phase where it is the toughest one for the victims to suffer, whereby the victims will linger over, will keep on pondering on the statements made against their body structure. And for my case, the first time when I heard people commenting on my eyes, I went home and I repeatedly asked myself, why am I born so different from my peers? Am I really that scary? And why am I born like that? And that was the time when we need the help from people around us. And more often than not, the advice that we receive from people is a one-liner advice, which is not to be bothered by the negative statement, which I wouldn't say it is wrong, but before this advice come into play, there's one crucial step that we can take to convince ourselves to let go of the negative statements, which first I would say is to decipher the negative remarks. You have to identify whether it is true or it is purely malicious. And for instance, a rather plump girl is indulging herself in her food, and there comes the busybody and she goes, are you really going to eat that much? But in fact, the portion of the food is just alright. And from there, the victims can identify whether the statement made was for the sake of her health or merely malicious, which aims to break her down. And if the intention of the statement is the latter, then why be bothered by the negative statements? And this is where the one-liner advice come into play. And if it is true, then we can take it as a booster to rectify our wrong eating habit and whatnot. And it might be harsh sometimes, the way they structure the sentence, the way they structure the advice to us. And to us, it is kind of like a body shaming, but in fact, the statement was made for the sake of our health. Then perhaps you can try to embrace it and rectify it. And what if there could be a situation where the statement could be right, but we couldn't do anything about it? For instance, some people, even they eat a lot, they stay steadfastly slender, but on the other hand, some people get their body size increased even with a wee sip of water. And that is where you can ask yourself, is the condition harmful to your body health? Will that jeopardize your health? If it is not, then that is also where the one-liner advice come into play. Don't be bothered by one which is not going to affect our life. And when we talk about appearance, it is always a subjective matter. When there's 10 people commenting bad about your body structure, there will always be another 10 people, 20 people who are in favor of our body structure. So you have to find a way to convince yourself not be bothered by the negative statement after you go through the first step, which is to decipher the statement made against you. Now, I would say the key takeaway from my video today is to get yourself face to face with the negative remarks and to make a definitive decision as to how you're going to deal with the negative remarks. And one advice to the shamers out there, please treat your comments like how you treat your IG posts. You might want to filter them before you post them out. And that's all from me. Stop perpetuating body shaming. Thank you.